we're going to start. Those that are going to come in, there should be many more here, and we're expecting them to come in as we get started. But we want to be timely. I started to say amen. That's my dad, though. Here. Let's sign in sheets. Make sure everybody signs in. And before we get started, I just want to recognize all of our TL Stamp students who participated in the meeting on Tuesday morning to honor academic achievement. All of you should have been in there, right? Why you laughing? Y'all did too. You'll get it next time. Okay, but one of our students, Jaquante Bowens, has received a special recognition. And Jaquante has been selected for participation for a summer research experience at Harvard University. So he's not here, but let's congratulate Jaquante. Now I'm going to introduce Dr. Andrea Tyler. She is one of the directors of Title III and responsible for coordinating the graduate school seminars for graduate students. So we decided to partner up today for this seminar because we think that it is important and valuable for undergraduate students as well as students who are pursuing a degree in STEM. So I'm going to now turn it over to Dr. Tyler.
Good afternoon. Oh, wow. Wait a minute, y'all. It's hot. 3:30. Y'all gotta help me out. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, no. All right, so like Dr. D said, I'm Dr. Tyler, and my primary responsibility here at TSU is to interact with graduate students. However, on the issue of writing, as you know, that can transcend undergrad, grad, K-12. I mean, that's from pre-K, kindergarten, they're writing now, learning how to do alphabets, all the way up to, of course, doctoral students. And so I have two wonderful speakers that came in the last 2 days to talk to graduate students about their writing. And so I decided to reach out to Ms. D and said, you know what, let's sort of partner. You know, I know what they're saying can be beneficial not only to graduate students and faculty members, but also the undergrads as well. Because I know in the STEM field that as a biology major, you can go from undergrad straight to a PhD. You don't even have to get a master's, okay? Which would then catapult you from the writing in which you would do as an undergrad to now this more prolific, you know, research concentrated writing of a PhD, okay? And so because you all are STEM students and because potentially some of y'all could just do that, you can go straight from your undergrad and go straight directly to a doctoral program, I thought it was beneficial that we partner, and while they were here on campus, to leverage the wonderful things that they're going to impart in you as undergraduate students. Okay, so our seminars are very interactive. As we detailed here or went through for the last 2 days, they're not going to talk at you. They want to talk with you. So it's going to be very engaging. I'm sure you all be raising your hands, asking questions. I hope you will. If not, I'm sure they will try to pull that out of you. But the most important thing is to use them while they're here. Leverage the knowledge in which they bring while they're here. They are, and actually Dr. Hancock will be doing this session from UNC Charlotte. Dr. Lewis and Dr. Hancock from UNC Charlotte. I will let them do their own personal, or let Dr. Hancock do his own personal introduction, and he will in turn introduce Dr. Lewis. But again, just like to be partnering with you all. If y'all have any questions, concerns, please ask them while we're here. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Dr. Hancock.
Good afternoon. First, I would like to say greetings from Charlotte, North Carolina, and of course, introduce my mentor, and it's also awesome to work with him, Dr. Chance Lewis. Give him a round of applause. Any words, Dr. Lewis?
thank you for having us. Really hope you enjoyed the session today. It's just really to support you and your academic and scholarly goals. So you'll have a great presentation from Dr. Hancock today, but we're so glad that you have us here on campus. So thank you very much.
And I want to say before I get started, he's one of the most prolific writers in education, having over 18 books. So close enough to that, and probably as many articles as well. So it's awesome to have that as a guide. Sometimes it's intimidating, but he has a way of helping everyone get to their goals. So before we get started, I want to let you know that you will have a test at the end of this, okay? And so I'm watching for those of you who are listening and paying attention. So at the end, to see if you can pass the test. Now, it's a 2-question test. You get one wrong, it's 50%, right? That means you fail. So make sure you're paying attention. The other thing I want to ask is that how many of you are planning to go to graduate school? Raise your hand if you're going to graduate school after graduation.
Yay.
Wow. Wow. All right. So most of you in here are moving right into graduate education. And so this seminar is going to really help you think about writing as you move into graduate education. One of the reasons why students are having problems with writing is because of procrastination, right? One reason we procrastinate is because we are probably intimidated by the writing process. So today I'm going to help you understand that. First of all, I'm going to talk about who I am. Now this is the first slide, and it's part of some of the information is on your test. Now, as you see, I'm an elementary school educator. I was an elementary school teacher, preschool teacher, and kindergarten through 3rd grade. So I am strictly and completely elementary, and I always move in those elementary spaces, right? But I also, as you see, majored in English and Latin as a minor, meaning I often tell people I'm a grammatist. So when I write, I really write, right? I can catch issues in writing as soon as my students write them. I just send it back. Now, my students hate sending me their papers. They don't have a choice though, because when they get it back, it is copiously. There's so many edits and notes that by the time they finish reading those edited notes and actually filling them in, their papers are awesome. And I tell them it's going to take me a couple of weeks to grade it, but when you get it back and have to turn it back in, it's going to be good. Now, at the bottom, you'll see my research agenda, okay? And as I do with my students, the research agenda is extremely important in your test, right? So think about it. Who am I and who might you be, right? You may not understand what autoethnography is, and that's not important at this point. But I want you to think about that research agenda because we have to think about it as we move through the writing process. So here's a quote that I talk to my students about. The writing product mirrors the writing process. So how many of you have turned in a paper, written a paper the night before it was due? Now, I gotta be real with you. I've been on a college campus longer than most of you have been born, right? So I know a Sunday night paper, right? I can see it before the student turns it in. I can see it when it's in the book now, right? Because I can see their face. Now you turn a Sunday night paper into somebody like me, it's not gonna fly, right? Because most people can't write that well in one night. You might think it's good, right? But if it's coming to me, you can't write it. Because guess what? The process was jacked up, right? The process was a 3-hour cram process, trying to get all that information crammed into this paper and sit it into it, instead of a writing process. So when I read it, I go, this is a cram paper, right? And I write at the top, cram, right? Oh, do over, or take the F, and give it back to you. I like those type of papers because I don't have to write them. As a professor, let me be real with you. I just go, okay, that's good, here, right? It's over. The rest of the papers I have to spend time on, those I get back and say, now you have to do it again with 1 letter grade deduction, right? But I don't know if you don't have to worry about that because you don't have somebody who like me. But I understand that process. If you don't understand this process, your writing is not going to be, the product is not going to be its best. So let's talk about 8 strategies for effective writing. And Dr. Lewis went over 10, and these are very, very similar to those. And I'm going to run through them, and I'm going to be practical in the sense of showing you some of those examples. So here are 8. Now, we don't have to really spend a lot of time on it. The only thing I want you to do is just do this. Just want you to write, okay? Begin to write. First is identify process. Identify passion. Now, I want to say to you this. None of these things are linear, meaning that they're not, you don't have to go in this order. It's just the order that I'm going to present it to you. Writing is fluid, it's cyclical, it's all over the place, and that's how you should be as you write. But you must also have some skill. So you want to organize your time. You want to know where to write. You want to read, take notes, organize your thoughts, develop your voice, and understand grammar. Okay? I'll give them to y'all now. First thing I want you to think about is time. When do you write? Now, over the last day and a half, we've been talking about organizing time, because organizing time is extremely important in the writing process. So if you come on in, come on in. All right? So as organized time, this is what you have to do. You really must discipline your time, right? And Dr. Lewis said something very important on the last 2 days. When you are super, super busy, that's the best time to be able to write. Sounds like an oxymoron, right? But when you have a lot on your plate, you must carve a time out to write. When you have this free time or you think you don't have a lot to do, you procrastinate. That's procrastination. So how many of y'all really, really busy? Right, how many have tight schedules, like class, work, homework, sports, all this stuff, families? Everybody got that type of stuff? Watch this. If you have all of that stuff, then when do you write? You shake your head like, when? When it's crucial. So that's that Sunday night person, right? Right, that's the Sunday night person. You write when it's crucial. You cannot write when it's crucial, right? Writing is crucial. So how do you carve out time for that? For writing? Go say it again.
You sort of have to set time out.
You have to set time out. We're going to talk about it a little bit in depth.
Well, what I usually do is just, I'll try to move time around, and if I at least have a good 30 minutes, that 30 minutes is going to be dedicated to the best I can do for my abilities.
Right, so he said just move time around. If he has 30 minutes, he's going to find 30 minutes to sit down and do the maximum work he can do, right? But just carving that time out, you have to carve it out. So when you carve out time, let's be practical. I mean, students, there's so much going on.
Because I keep a little memo pad where every day I tell myself what I need to do. And if I don't write that down, then I won't write.
Okay, if you don't put it in some type of structure, you won't write.
Well, with me, I look at all the assignments that I have to do, and I look at the due date. And then the ones, I look at not which one's more important, but which one's going to take more time, and then I will start with that. And then if I'm studying, I will start with something that's easy, do the most longest or the hardest subject that I work with in the middle, and then I'll put something else.
So you prioritize workload, right? Somebody over here then? All right, so what you're saying is that you do have to prioritize time to write so that you don't have a Sunday night paper turning in on Monday. If you are going into graduate school, and most of you are, that Sunday night writing is not going to work. If you move into a PhD, it will never work, right? In the PhD courses, you cannot make a B, right? So, yeah, a B is failure. I just want you to remember that, right, as we go through. And most programs don't allow you to make only one B in a course. And if you make 2 Bs, you're out of the whole program. So the thing about it is that, think about it. As you look up on that schedule, that is my writing schedule, right? So when you think about writing, writing is more than just the writing process. I mean, it's more than just pencil to paper or keypad to notes. Writing is also, what you see up there is RNN. That is reading and note-taking. You have got to be able to read and take notes, right? You'll see a quote on the next page, on a couple of pages that says, you only write as well as you read. If you're not reading and taking notes, what are you writing? Your opinions? 3-year-olds have opinions, right? How many of y'all know 3-year-olds? They got opinions, don't they? Who cares about your opinion? Right? I mean, some of us get all passionate about our opinions, right? And we write about this and we write about that, and we think people are supposed to care. Nobody cares. If your opinion is not supported by some type of research project, then your opinion is just what it is. Why should I listen? So what? Right? So when you're writing, think about it. Reading and note-taking is part of writing. You also see up there REF. That's what I do on Thursdays, right? That's your reference. Make sure you're always keeping up with your references. One of the worst things about it is to get to the end of the writing and realize, wait a minute, I don't remember where I got that from. Right? How many of y'all been there? Right? Let's be honest. And if you write, you probably been there. If you're keeping up with that reference list, make sure you keep it fresh. Always keep it fresh. You don't have to just wait for one day to do it. You can keep it fresh as you move through. And the last thing you'll see on there is think. On Saturdays is my thinking day, right? You see 30 minutes there because I do a 30-minute run. And during that run, I'm often thinking about what I'm writing, right? It's set aside to think about what I'm writing. So in the writing process, you have to understand, you have to read, you have to take notes, and you have to think. And look, if you look at that chart up there, you'll see that I don't start writing actually until a week and a day after I've been researching, reading, note-taking, and thinking, right? Because in that process, what I'm doing is developing what I am about to write. Most of us get the articles, sit down, read half of them, and start what? Right, and then you get frustrated when you can't get finished. You haven't read anything. Why haven't you read and taken notes? Why haven't you sat down and did the due diligence of saying, okay, I'm gonna read this, I'm gonna get all my notes together, and then I'm gonna think about this, and once I finish thinking, I make my plan out, and I begin to write. Will it change? Of course. It may change or it may not, but you must give your time that. So I can tell you, in 3 weeks, I can write an article. And in the third week, send it out for publication. Take a break for 1 week and say, I'm not writing anything. Start the process over. Dedication. Look at the hours. Make it happen, right? Carve the time. That's a very practical look. That's exactly what happens. And those times sometimes are set at certain times of the day. Okay? So when you see week 2 or on all Tuesdays, Tuesdays are from either 10 to 2 a.m. or 11 to 2 a.m. That's a good time for me to write. Wednesdays, I know, some of y'all thinking, what in the world? You gotta think, I mean, you wanna hear Dr. Lewis's? Dr. Lewis is 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. Right? Yeah. But you got 18 books. So what? You gonna whine about 3 a.m. or 18 books? So you want to see the glory, but you don't want to do the work. You want the product, but you don't want the process. And that's the issue. That's what happens to those Sunday night papers, right? You write it on Sunday night and turn it on Monday. It's not going to work as you move through, and it's not going to work as you compete against other students who are trying to get in the same graduate program that you're trying to get into. And that's what you have to begin to think about. Who are you competing against? And are they writing Sunday night papers every night? Or do they understand the process? Next thing I want you to think about, as you think about writing, is you got to feel to write. So here's where you have to find out who you are. What is your passion? If you had to think about your passion, what would it be? Okay? And passion is not something that's shallow. Passion rests and resides deep, deep, deep down inside. And when you don't know your passion or you don't have one, writing becomes really hard. And procrastination becomes really easy, right? Because you don't want to write. Especially if the professor gives you a prompt that you don't care about. How many of y'all had that happen? Give me an example.
I don't like writing about history.
You don't like writing about history. Why?
I just feel sometimes history, in your history classes, it doesn't grow. You hear the same thing, you hear the same thing, and then your papers get longer and longer writing about the same thing.
Got it. So, now watch this. What's your name?
Ashaya.
Ashaya. Ashaya, what is your passion?
I like children's stories.
You like children's stories, but what is your passion, right? So we have that note, the passion besides children's stories, like what Dr. was saying, what will wake you up at night? Or better yet, what gets on your nerve really, really badly? I know that'll work for you.
Okay, repeating myself.
No, in society.
Okay, oh, let me see.
Just think about it.
When people drive through the merging lane, like when they drive.
So when people cut you off.
Get over.
Got it. All right, let's stay with that. So that gets on your nerves, right? Think about that space. Well, how does it make you feel?
Irritated.
It makes you feel irritated. So now bring that, and what's your main thing?
Elementary education.
She all been my work. Oh, you weren't here on the first slide. So you might fail the test, but that's okay. Elementary education. So in the classroom, what annoys you? What annoys you about teaching, about what's going on in our schools in New York?
Teachers are not passionate about teaching anymore.
She's not passionate about teaching anymore. Watch this. Now, she says she hates what subject?
History.
And she hates writing about?
History.
But you haven't found your passion yet, have you? Do you understand the history of teaching? So let's think about it. What history subject that you don't like? I mean, what, just give me one. What's Spain?
World history.
Are you kidding? Now, watch this. If she understood her passion, world history would be fascinating. Have you thought about world history from the eyes of an elementary school teacher? What are they doing in Africa? What have they done over the last 30 years in teaching elementary school children in Africa? Have you thought about it? Right, because you haven't really learned about your passion. Everybody in here, you can find your passion in anything, any subject. Can you imagine? Have you thought about the history of kindergarten? Germany. What's his name? Friedrich Frobel. Of course, I'm a kindergarten person, right? So, I mean, the word kindergarten is German. Kinder, children, garden, play place. Kindergarten, right? You don't need history. You just haven't found your passion in history. And I say that for every one of you to find your passion wherever you are. Do you have any answer?
I do. Do you feel like it's a certain age where you find your passion?
Oh no, you find your passion as young as 7 or 5 or 4. I just saw the news article on a little girl who was a foster child on NBC News. She's 6. Guess what her passion is? Generating toys for other foster children. She has created this, I mean, you can Google it. And her lemonade stand is selling lemonade to buy toys for other. She is now 7 years old. Her passion is to help other children, other foster children have toys. So no, your passion is already in you. It was in you the day you were born. The fact is, have you been able to hone it? Because that's where writing comes from, right? That's where you have to write. So what is your passion? And then whenever somebody gives you a topic, find yourself in it, right? Somebody says, write on the history between 1850 and 1950. Pick your topic. You probably go, oh my gosh, I got to wars or something. No. You would go right to what? Elementary, and be fascinated, right? So what you want to begin to think about is your passion. Now, say it again.
What happens when you don't get that option? Like when you're literally forced to write about this certain subject that you just are not.
Give me an example. Like, I'm just tired.
You don't feel bad because I want to be educated, so
No. You don't. No. It ain't no feel bad. Go ahead. There's some things I don't like to write about.
I'm not going to tell you a story. I'm just not interested in writing.
Well, good. Okay.
I'm the type of person. I don't enjoy it. And being in the teaching program is so much. It really pushes you and drags you. You're going to have
It's dragging me through writing. Just I got an amen over here. One more amen. Come on. Let's get it out.
They say you're going to enjoy it like by the time you get done, but I'm just like, I'm looking forward.
You see her face, she's like, I'm just. You got some amen over here. I know not the STEM people. The STEM people are like, we like writing. So you just don't like it?
It's more so like,
Well, right now.
well, when they're discussing like us having to do the ACPA, and they're like, okay, well, you have to write the same thing over and over again 10 different ways.
Well, that's a different type of writing. So we're talking about academic writing. What you're talking about is the technical writing of the ACPA. And trust me, I know the ACPA because we do it in Charlotte as well. And that type of writing is just a specific type of writing. And you're right, it's redundant. So it should be easy, right? Write
It should, but then
write it again, then write it over, then write it over. And I tell my students it's the same stuff. Tweak it this way, tweak it that way. If you did any scholarships or applications to get into college, it's the same type of way you tweak that essay. You tweak it this way, turn it that way, turn it that way. That's a different type of writing than the writing we're talking about, right? This writing here is the writing that you should be thinking about becoming a teacher. Why are you doing it, right? Why are you becoming a teacher, right? What's the passion that's driving you to become a teacher? In one of the least paid professions and the most underappreciated professions. Why are you becoming one, right? And as a former elementary school teacher, I can talk like that because I know. Why are you doing it, right? What passion is pushing you? Here's another part of your test. So here's my passion. My passion is now autoethnography, right? The ethnographic study of self. That's what auto is. Self. But it's also, as you see up there, teacher and self, race and identity. I'm not going away from that. I'm not going from that at all. That is my passion. Now, does it hit all sorts of other spaces? Yes. What you got to do is figure out where is yours and who are you, right? Because you're right, writing is going to be really cumbersome. It's going to be hard, and it's only that because you haven't tapped into who you are. So what you might want to do is choose a mentor. Now, have up there actual or virtual. Virtual means that they may not be in the same place where you are. You may not be able to actually touch them. Like you can't touch you. You might not be the professor or the person may not be there with you. One of my virtual mentors is Paulo Freire. Well, he's no longer with us on the planet, but his writings are. And I read his writings and go, wow. Another one is, of course, the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who you may not realize is a prolific writer and has all sorts of stuff. And I just read this stuff like, wow, what a mentor, right? I can never touch him or talk to him, but I can learn through his writing. You might want to begin to think about that as you think about your passion. The other thing is you want a voice, right? We all have our opinions, and this is where your opinion is pushed out. What is your voice? Right? What do you fight for? Remember, that's where your passion is. What do you fight for? What would you fight for? If you're an elementary school teacher, I know you're fighting for the children, right? One of your major, what'd you say? Problems? You did not say problems. Oh. Well, then tell me something. See, you can't joke in my class, because I get you. So, what does that mean?
It's just that when you come across a school where you find that students don't appreciate, the services that they provide, what is worth it fighting for?
But if you have a passion for them, regardless of how the students respond, your passion doesn't change.
Be like the Giving Tree.
See, there it is. Well, enough said, we're moving on. All right, so, and that's a good analogy, right? So that's still your passion. It doesn't matter, and that's the thing about a passion. It doesn't matter what others are doing out there. Your passion doesn't change because it's you. Your voice is still going to be there. And as an undergraduate student, you have to establish that so that no one else gives you a voice. So when you move into your graduate program, you know exactly who you are and where you're going. So you want to begin to think about what is your voice, right? Who is your voice? And what scholars out there, and this is what takes your opinion into much more research or academic writing. What scholars also speak your voice? Nothing you've said or nothing new is under the sun. So you might think you walk right here, Miss Scholar, Mr. Scholar, and you got your bullhorn on campus and you telling everybody X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, and you think it's all brand new. It ain't. I'm gonna say it again. It ain't. It ain't. So sit down and realize it ain't new. Trust me. Go ahead and say anything you think is new. Go ahead and tell. Go ahead. I did. You can't say anything new, right? Now, there are new ways to fashion things, new ways to do things, but the concept of what you're saying is not somebody out there has said it. Have you done due diligence to find out who? So when you stand out there, you're standing on the shoulders of who? All of those who said it, which makes you much more powerful. It's no longer your opinion, right? It's a compilation of all the strength of all the people who said it. And so now when you say it, you're just now the modern day messenger. Okay? And that's what you gotta do in the thing about. So when I stand up, this is what I voice. I voice race is important. The identity of people is important, especially in the United States. And if we don't understand race and identity and how it impacts teacher education, we will never be on the top of education in the world again. We keep slipping every year from 22 now down to 32, right? Because we don't want to identify, we don't want to admit the fact that race and identity is extremely important when it comes to teacher and student reactions and behavior. And so that's my voice. Am I just saying that just I've said it? No, because I have so many scholars who've said that before me. It is not new, right? It's just a different time. And now it's my time to use my voice for it. Your time is now as well. So who are you standing with? You have to find out, do you know who you're standing with? So what you want to begin to think about, as you develop your passion, develop your voice, you get your time right, the next thing you need to do is find out who those scholars are. So now you have to read, right? You got to read to write. As I said to you before, there's a quote, your writing can be no stronger than your reading. That's why a Sunday night paper is a jacked up paper, especially when it's due on Monday morning, right? It's a failure. And like I told you, I don't get past the first 3 sentences and I go, she wrote this last night. And then I bring them in the office and they, oh no, no, don't lie. Just, it's better for you to just get it out, get it over with, and let's move on, right? So you have to begin to think about reading, and you have to read smart. Now here are some practical ways to read smart. Ready? Only read to support your writing, right? So when you're doing research, how many of y'all have been out there doing research on articles and pulling articles in, right? And you get all of these articles and you're like, now what, right? I got all these articles, the titles sound right, correct? And you get them all in front of you and you go, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, first of all, before you even download, or before you even download them and put them in your folder, or even print them out, read the abstract. These are practical things you need to do. Read that title, and then read the abstract. If the abstract is still interesting to you, do the next thing. Read the subheadings. I'm just telling you what I did. And when I read the abstract, all of it, I underline it, look at it, and go, okay, yeah, this might be something. Let's go to these subheadings. Will it read these subheadings and see if they're interesting? Yeah, they may be. After that, I go all the way to the back, and I read the references. Because I know some of the scholars, I go, okay, let me see. If they did not reference X, if I'm reading on urban education, and I don't see Dr. Lewis's name, it's like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to use this article, right? I need to see who you are using. Now, guess what? Because you're undergraduates, you may not be aware of who's out there. But still, go to the back and look at that reference list. Why? 2 reasons. To see who's there. Also, guess what that reference is to do for you? Say it again? Give you ideas for other articles. Give you ideas for other articles. If you find one good article, you don't have to look again. That's the secret. Find one good one, go to the reference, and just pull all those articles. Why are you tripping? And why are you working so hard? Right? If it's go back to your voice, go back to your passion. If your mentor, actual or virtual mentor, has written an article, go to the reference section. Look at what your mentor has written, who they reference, and pull all of those articles off. Because once you pull those articles off, look at their reference and do what? Sometimes I look at one reference article, and that's it. And all the rest of my stuff comes from that article. because it's like a spider web. I go to this article, look at their reference, go, wow, right? And before long, it's interdisciplinary work. So you want to begin to think about that, okay? And the last thing you'll do is read the article or the chapter completely. So once you know is what you want to do, then you start reading it, okay? The other thing I do is this. I notice how these articles are written. The sentences, format, and the structure. Now watch this. Those of you who don't like writing, raise your hand and just be honest, you don't like it. I know, I got you right here in front of you. I know you ain't got to raise your hand. Your head's still shaking. Before you leave here, we're gonna help you out. So, if you don't like writing, what you want to do is, you got to do it, right? You don't need to cry or whine about it. It ain't gonna help you back. Right? Whining just may take longer. Got it? When you pull an article, I'm gonna talk to you now, because I know you need it right now. When you pull an article, next time you have to write it, and it's a good article that you like, look at the structure of the sentences. Seriously, just look at it. Guess how I begin to write the way I write. I look at the cadence of none other than the letter from the Birmingham jail by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And that cadence, the way he wrote, I heard it, and it felt very good to me, so I started writing in that cadence. Did I use the same words? No. Did I use the same sentence structures? Yes. You look at the sentence structure, noun, verb, adjective, verb, noun, direct object. I'm like, oh, I can do that. Just stick my stuff in and then write in the same cadence. When you're reading your articles, use the cadence of the article. Use that, especially if it's an article that you want to send to, a book that you want to write to, right? You want to begin to use that. And then you want to use your target journal, or your target book, or your target publisher. If it's your professor, you want to make sure that you're writing to what the professor is looking for, right? And simply go to the faculty and ask, could you give me a list of references? Or do you have at least one reference there that you would like an article like? Right? Simply ask them and use it as your example. So for me, Dr. Lewis asked the graduate students, do they know journals, top journals or top publishers in their field? Well, your undergraduate students, you probably, I don't know if you, how many of y'all know any of the top journals? Or, okay, one.
Journal of Psychology.
Journals, huh?
Journal of Psychology.
Right, you have the Journal of Psychology?
My guy went over it with me yesterday, was IEEE, and then like a Expert.
Oh, that's a publisher, right. And I don't know which one that is. But so,
It's an industry.
engineering, right. So the thing is that you may not know that right now, but it's something that you may want to begin to think about, right? Here are some of the top journals in the space for me, right? It's another slide for your exam. Right, get ready. So when I think of top journals, these are the top journals. Well, the top one is HER, which is probably one of the top journals in all the country, or in all the world, Harvard Ed, right? And then there are these top book publishing companies. So when I'm writing or when I'm thinking, guess what I go to? Before I even pick up a pen, I go to one of those journals and say, okay, I'm writing to this journal, so this is what the journal is looking for. For you, sometimes you have to go to your professor and say, I'm writing for this professor, and this is what he's looking for, or what she's looking for. The other thing is this. If the professor gives you something, go pick up a journal article and say, I'm going to write my article to my professor just like this, and blow their mind, right? Because it's out there, the information is out there. What you have to begin to do is think about how you're going to write it. You have to know where to write it. Because as Dr. Tyler said, some of you can go from your science degree straight to a PhD. Next, how many of y'all graduate next year? Right. So if you're in science, you can graduate in May of 17, or May of 18, and be in a graduate school September 18. And you have to ask yourself, are you ready? Are you writing to be ready? Okay? And that happens really, really fast. So you want to begin to think about, as an autoethnographer and ethnographer, these are the top journals. As somebody who writes in multicultural education, urban education, these are the top journals. And when I'm ready to write, these are the only journals I go to. Okay? If I'm writing interdisciplinary, I can go to other journals. And I go with other people. but these are publishing. Same thing, looking for books, okay? So you want to begin to think about, as you move out of your undergraduate into graduate, where are you writing, who are you writing? And like I said, if you want to blow your professor's mind, I dare you to pick up a journal. If you're a teacher educator, pick up teacher education. Just go online and pull up one article on teacher education. And look at an education, look at one on teaching African American students, effective ways of teaching African American students. And then the next time they say write one on history, go to that journal article and write just like that author wrote, and watch what your teacher says, right? They're gonna ask you, can we publish together? Number 6, you wanna take notes while you write. Now you'll see that example up there. The example is a real example. It's actually a real example of what I'm doing right now, right? So what I tell students, my undergraduate students, when they're writing, especially for me, I said, either you're gonna write it by hand or you're gonna type it. You need to highlight either with marker or with words in the corner, right? So now you can electronically highlight stuff and put little notes, do all that stuff. You want to copy direct quotes, and this is what I do. I have the quotes, the citation, and my major points. Got it? And what I do is, when I'm ready to write the paper, guess what I do? I simply take the quote out of that, copy it, and paste it right into the paper. Now, my paper is not full of direct quotes, so I didn't paraphrase some of these quotes, of course, and still cite them. But because I've taken copious notes when I'm reading, I don't have to ever go back to those articles again. Everything I need is in my note packet. And yes, I have 7 to 8 pages of that. But I never go back to the 20 articles or 30 articles I wrote. Once I read them, I either set them aside and put them in my folder on my computer, or if I've copied them off or printed them off, I'll put them away in a folder. Because I have them all. And when I'm writing, I just go back to those notes. Okay? And then sometimes I have to jump back into an article. But oftentimes when I'm sitting down to write, I'm flowing. I'm moving. That's the way I do it. You may find a different way to do it. And then you want to also develop a reference and style of the journal or the paper that you have to do. Now, undergraduate students all over the world are now becoming writers. I'm sure you know that. Many undergraduate students are now publishing more and more and more and more, and we have to be able to compete against that, especially if we're going to do grad school.
So do you think a reason why most people don't like to write is because they don't do enough research? Or they don't have anything to stem from, they think writing is just...
You got it.
I mean, because you're making it seem like writing is just like when you know about it, there's nothing nobody can tell you about it.
Well, I told you I was going to change it. Look, she changed it already. She be like, she's right. So the reason why people don't write is because you don't know what to write about, and you think you have to think it all up. It's already there. Go get the help. And once you understand, that's what I mean by this process. People try to write on a Saturday night, know the papers due Monday morning, and they're trying to get it all in their own head. And that's what makes it hard. But when you understand the process, remember the first quote? The writing product is a mirror to the writing process. When you know the process, yeah, you're not stressed about how to do all this. It's not you. You ain't making anything new. What you're doing is bringing it into your voice. That's the new thing. Your voice. That's the new piece. The information is not. It's there. It's written. It's somewhere. How do you bring it out? What is your passion? How do you speak? Right? And just go get the information from somebody else. Find, and I tell you, the biggest work for me in writing is not the writing. It's the research. It's the making sure I find the right article. Making sure I find the right chapter. Right? It is not the writing. And you hit it on the head. It is not the writing. It's that research part, the note-taking, and the thinking. Once I get past that, the writing becomes very easy. Got it? And you'll see, because I'm looking at these major points. I know what I'm writing. This is the paper I'm working on now, frame and race, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm working on it for until the end, because that's probably a test. The next thing I want you to do is to think. If you saw in that time frame, I have a thinking time. I'm a runner. Dr. Lewis is a cyclist. He's a crazy cyclist. Dr. Lewis, go ahead. Let them know how much. I mean,
80 to 100 miles.
Did you hear that?
A week or like?
Yeah, like,
He said,
like a
yeah.
month.
No, tell them, Dutton.
Like a month?
I do long rides like 80, in a day.
Do it.
Somebody,
I write early in the morning.
Oh, so you
3
get up
a.m. to
really?
7.
What time do you go to bed?
Oh.
Right, when do you sleep?
No, I'm
Yeah,
I'm
that's
genuinely wondering.
So I write from 3 a.m. to
What
7
time do you go to
a.m.
sleep?
About 10:30 left.
Okay.
Wait, how many hours
Yeah.
sleep? Right, that's a little quick.
8 hours is not reality once you have passion. When you have passion, it's gonna wake you up.
Let's go.
right. And the thing is that, what we have to be real about is that is our workspace. So we are designed and we are pushed to do research and writing, right? So as a teacher and being more practical, as people in undergrad, that may not be your focus, but he's right, that passion keeps you moving, right? And that's why you have to find it, right? The reason I left the classroom is because I was passionate about helping white women understand how to teach black children, okay? Teaching with elementary school white women all my life next door to them, trying to help them understand what it is to support and to help black students, specifically black boys, was a passion. And I got tired of going to work. So I would teach the students, but I'm also teaching my colleagues who are teaching in these urban schools. And so finally I realized the best way to do this is to teach them before they get into this classroom. And that's why now I teach elementary education, diversity, and multicultural education, right? To help white women understand how to help. It's a passion. It keeps me up at night. It's like, okay, well, we got to do this, that. They got to do that, right? With 89% of the population, there's no sense in yelling or fighting or talking or being upset about the reality of white women in elementary schools. They're there. The best thing we can do now is to support them, right? And that's the passion. And it does keep him up. He gets up from 3 to 7. I'm from 11 to 2 a.m., right? And then I get up at about 8. Sometimes 7, right? But the thing is that you want to begin to think to write. He rides 80 miles in one day, right? He got me out there one time and nearly killed me. I said, I think I'm going back. I might go back, but I'm a runner, so I'll run 30 minutes to an hour straight, just go, right? 13 miles, just keep moving. But it helps me clear my mind, just think through. Now, you don't have that much time. You may not. You know, somebody said, "Oh, you got more." That's what I heard. She said she don't even have that much energy. How you gonna not have energy at 22 years old? Or 21, what?
Doing something that
I like this one. She said, you don't even supposed to be doing that, Dr. 80 miles, it ain't real.
So far, we've been talking about the importance of writing in the academic setting, but I think it's also important to state that writing does not stop. Writing is continuous throughout life. You have to be a good writer. Engineers have to know how to write. When you go into the workplace and you get out of school, you think, oh, I no longer have to write. Wrong. What happens when your boss comes to you and says, why don't you write me this report? And they get it and they say, this person graduated from college? You know, sometimes I read stuff that students are writing and I'm like, oh my God. But writing, it's important to be a good writer. You have to be able to convey your thoughts and ideas on the computer in writing. And so I just wanted to make that.
I'm glad, and if you can do academic writing, it will transfer into any type of other writing. Mm-hmm. Right? If you can do that, you will be able to write reports. And teachers think, oh, I don't have to write anymore.
Right.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. When you get into your position, you will be writing, right? And your principals will be looking at it like,
Right.
ain't no promotion in this one, right? So you want to begin to think about that, go ahead.
Okay, so, I'm stressed. Okay, so, I don't know, we gotta be good, okay, we gotta practice our writing, right?
Mhm.
We have to practice our math, we have to practice our science, we gotta practice, like, I just feel like how much, like, if you here to 12 already doing your work, like your classwork, how are we supposed to have to, I'm stressed.
Right, but see, what you're doing is you are compartmentalizing writing as if it's this thing over here by itself. Writing is not compartmentalized. It is integrated into your science. It's integrated into your math. It's integrated into your all of it. How else do you express your voice if you're not writing it?
Right.
See what I'm saying? And so I understand what you're saying. She said she's stressed. This is just another thing to think about on top of all of that, right?
Right.
And that's why you have to go back to the first slide. What is your time frame? What does your schedule look like, right? And as Dr. Lewis was saying with the graduates, where's your me time? My me time is that running time, right? 80 miles on a bicycle. Who gonna bother me? Nobody. Right. Who gonna keep up with me 1 hour running? Nobody. Right, I don't even know. No, unless you're a runner and you run beside me, but if you are running, I got earphones in, so I can't hear you.
I add one piece.
Go ahead, of course.
I want to add a piece to our question because I think it's important for all of you to be successful in college and then ultimately your career. When you think about time, I want you to think about on the other end of it. Think about how much time you waste. Okay? And here's what I mean by wasting time.
Right.
How many hours a day do you spend on social media?
No.
Okay, hold on, I'm coming to you. Hold on. I know you- All right, so just think about that, because everybody has the same allocation of time. It's just how are you using your time? So in order for you to be successful, you have to work every day toward being very efficient in working and getting things done. Because in order for you to graduate from this university, the only way you're gonna graduate is that you produce the work that they ask you to produce. Okay? So as you start to think about this, and where do you go from here, the biggest takeaway with what Dr. Hancock is saying is, think about your time and then you have to practice your craft. Okay, so when you go back to her question, if I'm stressed out, then you will not work at your optimal pace if you are stressed out. Right. That's why you have to have me time to enjoy college, enjoy the things of college, to do those things. But when you come out of that space and it's time for you to work, and when you look at your calendar, it should be so clear on your calendar when you're working, when you're not working, and when you're in that space, you have to make sure you maximize that time. Because I want to make an important distinction. Being busy does not mean you're productive. That just means you're busy. Because you can go all day, run around all day, and not get nothing done. So the thing is that in order for you to graduate and be successful, you're going to have to maximize time and be efficient in that time as well. Because only thing they're going to ask you when it's time for graduation is, have you completed the requirements for the degree? Yes or no? Now, how you do that is going to be up to you. Okay, so don't equate busyness with being productive, because in order to do what he's doing, these things with me with writing and him with running, these have come after years of trying to protect your time, but also mastering how you want to work it. So when I was in college, you know, I'm an HBCU graduate, a great Southern University. But so I did all that. I was in the band and all of that for 4 years. All of that, right? But the way I did my work first. And I hung out, went to all the parties, and all of that. But my friends looked around. It was time for me to graduate. They said, well, when did you do the work? And you were with us. Did it before we got together. So efficiency with your time is going to be very, very important. And you can be just as prolific as Dr. Hancock, myself, or whoever. It just once you master that craft. So whether you go industry, grad school, or whatever, it's all about that. Yes.
Okay,
question, 'cause I'm just trying to figure out, I'm not trying to be personal, I'm
Oh.
just trying to say your work day, how you just.
Okay.
Okay, because, I'm trying to figure out because, like she said, I'm stressed, like,
Well, I mean,
go to
what-
school, work, come back, sleep, homework, like,
Sure.
that's just like, I don't even have a social life, it's only just at this point in life. But I'm just trying to figure it out because you get what you gotta get done with no question about it, like, you don't wake up at 2 in the morning like, I'm tired, you like, okay, I'm trying to figure it out, because, then you like do 80 miles a day, it's just a lot. I'm really trying to figure it
Let me
out.
put something else, every day is not 80, some days might be 60. But here's the thing. Right, but here's the thing though. Before I wake up tomorrow morning, I already know I have an assignment with myself on what I need to do when I wake up and get in that space. So no time is wasted, okay? And then, so based on that, I want you to understand that I want you to get your calendar straight, because being in college and having no social life is not healthy.
Correct.
Okay, it's not healthy, okay, because part of being a college student is to experience the fullness of college, academics, social, and all of that, okay? So when you look at being productive and where you're trying to go, I would say think through how much time you waste and place in that space time for productivity. And then you can then will find you have more time to go do the fun stuff, okay? Because I bet, even though I don't know any of you, I bet more than an hour in a day is just spent looking at your phone.
And you don't even realize that.
And you don't even realize it, okay? So
That's
when
a
you
whole
think
hour
about
you could have written.
Just elaborate, I know Southern University, Human Jukebox, you spend a lot of time,
Yeah.
I'm in the band as well.
Yeah.
So I understand that time management aspect, but it kind of falls short when it comes to the social life aspect, because I'm in the band.
Right.
So we're part of the social life.
Right.
So were you able to maintain that while in band, while handling your studies?
Good question.
Because sometimes your schedule is not going to be the same. 1 week right here, you're practicing for a class, and next week you're working for homecoming, something like that. How are you able to maintain and still get the little piece of social life while still able to do this and that?
Great question. So I did my homework early in the morning, scheduled morning classes. Okay, so all my classes were done around about 12:1. Right? So practice started at 4 or 5. So 12 to 4. I mean, I'm out like what y'all had today. And the campus came out, hanging out at there, doing all the things of social life. And then you have band practice. You go to band practice, and then after band practice, people want to hang out after that. Okay? You know what I mean? So the way I did the schedule in college, right? After band practice, go to the parties or whatever. But then I'm still disciplined enough to get up, to do the homework I needed to do, to still make the dean's list and all of those things. But it's scheduling the homework, scheduling time, and then I even have it where you schedule the time you're gonna hang out. And so you get the full gamut of everything that you're trying to do. So then you're not just stuck with, I can't do this because I haven't done something else. So that's why you have to schedule it and be intentional and know when to say no to some stuff as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
And if you saw my undergraduate calendar, you would see exactly that. I used to schedule in the word fun, right? Because I knew this was when I would have fun. And one of the things I do now, and like I tell my daughter, you waste more time, like you said, looking at the phone. Don't trip. You have an hour to write. You just don't want to give it up, right? What's your favorite TV show? You watching Scandal tomorrow night, right? Give it up. Or Empire, whichever one you're watching. I don't know what time it is. The thing is that, how much time do you watch TV a week?
Like an hour maybe, that's about it.
Okay. Seriously, how much time do you watch a week?
Maybe an hour.
Your hour? Hour and a half? A week?
What's the question?
How much? TV you watching
on,
TV.
but you're not watching it.
Yeah,
If
that
you're
counts.
moving around,
That
that
counts.
still counts.
What about if you're going to sleep and it's just on?
Right, no. Going to sleep is different. The thing is this, what Dr. Lewis is saying is what you have to do is you have to stop whining and complaining about the time and figure out how much time are you wasting. Once you get a hold on the wasting of time, and be honest with your proclivities, be honest with your weakness, right? Be honest with the fact that you can't really handle Facebook. Because it does take up your time. You get on and you get swallowed, you look up and it's like 2 hours ago, and you're like, darn. Right? How many of y'all have done it? Go ahead, be honest, go ahead and confess it. Just go and get it out. Be honest, just confess it. Guess what? I don't have Facebook. That's 2 hours. I don't have time to get on. And when I did have it, it was like, wait a minute, this is taking too much time. I could have written a book by the time I had
But
much
you
time.
don't feel like left out in the fact that you don't have one?
You left out of what?
Like everybody else that's like, oh, I saw this on Facebook, oh, I saw this person on Facebook, like, you don't feel like
No,
left out.
now Dr. Lewis is on Facebook, so when they say I saw this on Facebook, I'm like, oh, did it? Okay, that's good, I got it. Okay, no problem. Guess what? Dr. Hancock knows this. I know that I am a social person like that, and if I have it, I won't be able to write. So which one I gotta do? Got to give it up. And see what I'm saying? And especially when you have a paper due, look at your Facebook time. So this Facebook time has to be cut down to 30 minutes, right? Now my wife is a every 2 month Facebook person. She gets on it every 2 months, and she stays on it for about an hour and a half, and then she's done. Catch up, and then she does it. Because she knows the same way. If she stays on it every day, it can consume you.
Okay, so do you suggest, because I don't have any social media apps like on my phone. I deleted them all.
Okay.
But
You doing some kind of mask?
no, it was taking up time.
Yeah.
And then I would like download them and post my pictures and then get off of it.
Go ahead.
But like, yeah, like as like you're saying, like we need to have this like balance, right? So we're spending most of our time studying or writing for research purposes.
Not everybody.
Not-
Not everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
Right, but
They
you
just speak for
just
you.
speak for yourself.
speak to me, okay? I'm spending most of the time studying and writing. So if you get on like social media, I found that like I don't know what's going on, like ever. Like I was like, oh, it's going on Wednesday today. I was just going to Starbucks, going to class, going back to class, and like you don't know, and that element that you guys are talking about that is so important of being social is taken away because a lot of people socialize and they get across messages, and that's what
Well,
social
no.
media is for.
Just like you were saying, you schedule your social media time. You say at 10 o'clock to 10:15, I'm gonna catch up. It's better than not sending it off. Got it? And you catch up.
Okay.
Right? The thing is that right now you have to schedule. What you are doing now is going willy-nilly through your whole life, and there is no schedule, and you're wondering why you're not getting things done. You have to get back to the schedule. All right, it's gonna be time for the stay out here, so I'm gonna run through the last slide. Last slide, and I know y'all have help with this here, but you have to understand grammar. Got it? And as a grammarist, as somebody who looks at grammar, you must understand grammar. Here are just a couple of writing things that you have to do because I know time is up. When you're writing, I want you to avoid contractions. Do not use contractions. Don't, can't, is not written. Do not put it in there. Got it? Do not, you see, did I just use a contraction? I didn't say don't, I said do not. Do not use etc. Please, etc. what? If you use etc. in a paper, for me, it'll be a big, and I'll get right back to you. And what does etc. mean, right? What language is that? Y'all know language? You need to know language. It's Latin. So in Latin, and it means and so on. Don't use
So
it.
just stop where.
Stop it.
We went on where the list.
Stop your list.
Okay.
Put and let, do not use etc. Here you go, you ready for this? Avoid using second person. You and your. Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? I know, look, what?
It just burns me. I hate when I see I. When you write a paper in first person, when you're writing a paper, you know you're writing a paper. Keep saying I 1,000 times in your paper.
Right, you quick saying 1,000 times, and there's sometimes you can't use I, but you're right, you don't want to always use I. The other one,
Sometimes I just show like 11.
no, know what EG means. How many of y'all use EG? Right, know EG means, for example, IE means what? Defined as. Oftentimes people use those two different. That's e.g. See, that's why you're in this. That's why you're sitting in here right now. And you see the rest. We have to roll up. So you want to make sure you understand that. All right. Ready? This is your this is for your test. I just have two basic questions for you. So based on my passion, what should I write about? Right here.
Better methods in approaching African American students in urban areas.
Better methods for teaching African American students in urban areas.
No, excuse me. I was thinking of something.
Okay.
Successful elementary school, like look at the data of successful elementary schools where it's predominantly white teachers and African American children who have come out, you know, strong, and see what methods they're using.
Okay. Anybody else? Wow.
Methods of teaching African American children in America.
Okay.
Not talking nowhere else.
You got it. Everybody else? All right. Excellent. I want you to keep those in mind. Then where, the second question is, where should I publish? So where should I write? What articles or what journals should I write? Education journal?
The Harvard Education.
Harvard Education Review?
I forgot, it was the urban something.
Urban Education?
Urban education.
Teacher research.
Teacher Research? Big journal. Okay. Anywhere else? The Journal of Multicultural Education. Look at y'all.
Oh my goodness.
My word. You know what I would say that those who spoke y'all passed. Those who didn't, I'm just joking. So, and I would give you some of those examples right there. But here are just three of the things that have been written, right? So very impactful and exceptional work. First of all, in the journal, in the Harvard Education Review, that's one of my critical, and I'm writing the second article right now for the Harvard Ed Review. It takes about 2 years to get published, but I'm already in. So you have to begin to think about wherever your passion is, taking that passion all the way to the end. Those are two books thanks to Dr. Lewis and his series that have been written. One, White Women's Work, dealing with white women and the identity of race and working with students. And of course the other is my methodology, ethnography, how I study identity and self. Okay? So I want you to begin to think about how now to get through your writer's block. 5 things I do and I'm done. First, I move. I'm not sitting down no more than 20 minutes when I'm writing. I'm up and I'm going to walk around the room and think about what I just wrote or read or took notes on. 20 minutes, because your attention span is going to go. All right, let's be real. I'm not sitting there and writing for 4 hours straight. Sometimes I get a good 40 minutes that I don't even move because I'm writing so well. I'm like, wow. Then of course, it teeters off and I go ahead and get in the mood, right? Second thing, free write. Stop writing when you get a writing block, push the writing aside and just free write your opinions. This is where your opinions matter. Free write your thoughts, just free write. Just write anything, just start writing, right? And don't try to write in any structure, just free write. Just get it out, get out your thoughts, just get them all out. Don't worry about grammar, worry about none of that. Just get it out. Second thing, step away from the writing, leave it alone. Do your biking, go dancing, do whatever you want to do, but just get away. 2 things you do with the writing, go ahead and complete the reference section, right? So when you got writer's block, just go to your reference section. See, this is mindless work. One thing you're doing is doing what? Putting everything in APA style. It is not a bunch of work, but guess what? It needs to be done. Get this simple stuff over. When you have writer's block, just go, okay, let me just get my reference. Right, let me get them all straight out. And the last thing you do is format your paper. Put your paper, put your headings, do you ain't writing anything after you're sick of writing. Just format the paper to make it look right. So then when you go back to writing, it's all formatted. All right? So those are 5 things I do to move beyond writer's block. Any questions, comments, insights, revelations? Yes.
You were speaking about writing to what your professor like provides you with. So I have this one professor who I literally will write just as the examples provided for us. And it still feels like it's not good enough for her. Like I'll get if it's out of 20, it'll be like 17 out of 20.
Well, you need to discuss it.
But she's one of those professors that's like, I gave you the comments. Reading in her comments, I'm just like, but I provided that. Just like the example.
Well, I mean, what you're getting into now are specifics with faculty. It's not really the writing process or the writing. That is what you're going to talk to with the faculty. If the writing is done, the writing is done, right? And you also may get some of that from a publisher, right? The thing is that once you get it from the publisher, what we call it is either revised and submit, is either accepted or it's rejected, right? What it sounds like is if that was professor giving you a 17, it sounds like revised and we submit. Right, but you often don't have that, but we can't get into the relationships between faculty and students and their attitudes and so forth. That's not in the writing process. That just happens between humans. Somebody else?
I just want to encourage you all. I'm a doctoral student at the College of Art. So I want to say that this phase that you're in, I mean, give it all you've got. Like, it'll pass. Like, when you get to the working world, the demand won't be so much. So give it all you've got for now. You know, take time out. When it's time to play hard. But when it's time to work hard. And give it all you've got. Even when you master your writing, if you decide to go to grad school and do maybe a doctoral program, it'll be easier by the time you get there for you. But you have the foundation right now.
Right.
That's what's important.
Okay, I'm sorry. It kind of reverts back to her question. Do you feel like everybody views writing differently? Like if she was submitted to another professor and they graded completely different, like, is it a right or wrong in writing, or does it depend on the person who's grading it?
Right, it depends on your audience, right? It depends on the person's grading. It
Okay.
also depends on the article, the journal that you're sending.
So do you think like if she submits a paper and she says she's getting like 17s from that professor, like should she keep beating herself up without it, or she's just like, okay, maybe that person doesn't view it the same way?
Right, I think that you want to take that once again with that's a personal,
Okay.
you know, you want to take that up with that faculty.
Okay.
But in the writing world, the journal is going to send you back the reasons why, and they have all their standards on it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I need to get them to the airport, and so, I know it's in the midst of plane. First of all, I want to, thank you all for coming. And I'm sitting there with Dean, when she realized we had all the other students. This is TLC's session. I know this is a required session for you all. However, we had other faculty members who wanted to benefit from this talk. And so the other individuals that you see in the room are individuals from other classrooms, primarily education, where their instructor wanted them to come to hear our speakers. So that's where you have the education. For those of you all in TLC, like, these people working in our seminar. That's what that is. So a couple of things, housekeeping really quick. Did everyone get an evaluation sheet? If you did not, please raise your hand. Everybody got one? Okay, so I'm gonna need everyone to fill one out, please. We will, we look at these, you can make them anonymous, you put your name on it. It's just a way of me and hopefully in the future partnering with the TLSAM organization to know your thoughts, what you thought about this session, maybe future sessions, that in ways in which I can collaborate and bring people here on campus that are gonna benefit you from an undergraduate perspective. Let's give Dr. Hancock another round of applause. And again, you know, like I said, even though the primary purpose for them originally was for graduate students, when the word got out they were coming, there were a lot of faculty members and chairs said, you know what, we need something for the undergrad as well. And so I graciously reached out to TLSAM, and she graciously accepted us being able to come into you all's seminar. So hopefully you all enjoyed it. Again, fill the evaluations out, let me have those back, and then I'll give, like I said, a computation to Ms. D once we get those back in and analyze those. So let me turn it over to Ms. D before I totally close out.
I'd like the STEM students to stay for 5 minutes so that we can do what you all came here to do. We have a little thing that we do at the close of our seminars where we pull a ticket and whoever has a ticket gets $50 cash. So, and that's just a way to encourage our students to be proud of wearing that t-shirt. But on behalf of Dr. Lonnie Sharp, the Executive Director of the Tennessee Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation, he's in North Carolina today. And on behalf of TL Sam and the STEM students and undergraduate students at Tennessee State University, we want to thank you, Dr. Hancock, and also Dr. Lewis for coming. We know that you could have went anywhere else, like Prairie View maybe, but you chose to come to our university, and we want you to know that we appreciate it. I hope the students received a great deal of benefit from what was said today. Right? All right.
Okay,
Also, want to make sure that everybody signs the sign-in sheet. For the TLSAM program, we use that to track our students who are coming to these seminars. And to be perfectly honest with you, I use it to make a determination on who will work in this program next semester. So, students who apply, and applications are now up and online, you have to apply for TLSAM every semester. So now the application is up, you can go in. If you're interested in continuing to work with moi, the applications are now available online, so you can go on the TLSAM website and complete the application for the fall 2017 semester. Our last seminar is April the 19th, and that's our celebratory end of semester session. We use that session to just acknowledge and congratulate you for making another semester. We also acknowledge our STEM graduates who will be leaving us and going on to the next phase of their journey, be it the academic journey or the career journey. But we wish everyone success, all right? Now, one thing about our drama, Dr. Robinson is going to pull the number. If you do not have your t-shirt on and you got the number, you will not get the you gotta have your t-shirt on. Today is TLSAM Wednesday. Okay. The winner, whoever has 008 063.
They got any presents to win? I'll do that.
008 063. Going. You have it? No, 063.
Let's go.
That's great.
I got cancel.
Okay. 008 122. 008 122.